Okay, great. Hi, teachers. Welcome to the orientation for session 6 of our PLE program. So most of the stuff, again, has stayed the same, especially your policies, but there are some new things that I want to introduce, like our Quizlet policy, and most likely throughout the session, I may be updating some things as well. So just make sure to pay attention to that, and I'll probably mention that during class. Okay, first and foremost, just make sure you have the staff directory filled out. This can be found in the schedule. And I will also send a link in the chat right now, just so you all can quickly fill that out if you have not already. Okay. Let me know if this is the session 6 link, or if it's not the session 6 link. Okay, great. For those of you who are new teachers, just make sure to pay attention to the tabs at the bottom. So if you teach, depending on which day of class you teach, and also make sure to fill out all your contact information. That way we can send reminder emails and things like that. Okay, so basically how we're going to use your contact information and what you kind of need to pay attention to. So this is where you receive updates. So personal email is of course where we send the majority of our updates. That's where we send reminder emails and things like that. And also phone numbers. So make sure you have that filled out in the staff directory because, for example, if you have an emergency and you're absent, I'll most likely call you and try to get in contact with you. And also just for quick confirmation or contact purposes, I'll probably contact you through there as well. Okay, any questions about this before I move on? Okay, great. And just a note, a check will be done after class to verify that you all have inserted your information into the staff directory. So make sure you do that now. Everything I mentioned during the orientation, make sure you fill out all the necessary information before I move on. Okay, Zoom information. For those of you who are new teachers, the Zoom can be found directly in the schedule. So all you have to do is access that and then click on the link and then join. And one thing you do need to make a note of is that when joining the class, please rename yourself to your full name and then behind it, the grade level and the subject you are teaching for the day. And after entering the main room, first I will give you co-host. Make sure you have that before you join your breakout room because co-host is really important. It allows you to unmute your students. You can mute them. You can ask them to turn on their video. You can do a lot of things with it. So make sure you have access to that before you join your breakout room. Okay, and does anyone have any questions about the Zoom? Okay, schedule. So real quick, I have some things to talk about. Let me pull up the schedule. Okay, so here is our PLE program schedule for this session. So again, all important resources can be found in this lower section right here. So a lot of teachers ask me, where is this or where is that? And I just refer them to the schedule. Most of the resources we use can be found in here. So if it's not, just let me know and I'll sort that out. Okay, so one thing that I want to know if you haven't looked at it yet is the instructions tab. I'll mention this in a second, but mainly make sure to attach your email to your name. I know I mentioned that yesterday and some teachers still haven't done that. So make sure you do that right now so you don't forget. I'm going to put this link in the chat so you all can do this right now and don't forget after class. Okay, so you can access the schedule there. Basically what you do is click on your name. So for example, if I was Sandeep, I would just click on the name and then I would go up here to the top and then there's this insert link icon and then I would click on that. And then right here, just type in your email. So mine would be this. By the way, if you want to save my email for contact purposes, you can go ahead and do that. I'll also paste this in the chat. Okay, there you go. But basically hit apply and then that kind of attaches a link to it. And we also use your email to put you into the email list for the reminder email. So make sure all this is filled out before you leave class today. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, great. One more thing I would like to note is that I sent an email about this a couple of days ago as well. But we really do need at least one teacher for each grade level, because when a teacher is missing, we'll have to combine students and that creates like grade level differences, and it's really difficult for the teacher a lot of times. So please, please, please reach out to classmates, your friends, your family, or anyone else you can think of as soon as you can. If they are interested in earning more volunteer hours, we have a lot of positions here in our Philly program available for them. And for each new person you find, you get 1 hour of extra volunteer time, plus any additional time that you spend. So this is a great volunteer opportunity for you as well. So please make sure that you all can get to this if it is possible. Okay, does anyone have any questions about this? Okay, great. So again, classes from 10 to 9 Eastern time. Although class starts at 8:20, you all are required to join at 8:10. We do take attendance of who joins present, who joins absent, or even people who join a little bit late. So please make sure that you guys work on that. Okay, great. Moving on, the link tree, again, this can be found in the schedule part, or sorry, in the bottom of our schedule. So real quick. Okay, so right here in the teacher resources section, if you click on our Philly link tree, I haven't updated all the resources yet, so a lot of the stuff is still session 5, but you can ignore that for now. So some important documents could be like youth teacher instructions, and one thing I will mention later on is time collection in PVSA application. Since I'm already here, I'm going to mention it now just to save time. So please pay attention if you are interested. Okay, I just sent a link to this document in the chat. So I'm going to quickly explain how time collection works, since I know some teachers yesterday had questions about it. So each year we do switch our volunteer time collection sheet. The one for the 2023 to 2024 year, so the one you guys are using right now, is effective from July 1st of last year to June 30th of this year. And the reason we do that is because in June, people apply for the PBSA, and after they apply for it, the time collection sheet has to reset so they can earn new hours for the next year, if that makes sense. So you guys won't have to change your volunteer time collection sheet until July of this year, of 2024. And of course, I'll let you guys know when you guys need to do that. So for new teachers, right here in this section, you have a template. This is your volunteer time collection sheet. You see here a teacher forgot to create a copy and decided to put all of their information here. So make sure you create a copy. You shouldn't be able to edit it anyway. So, oh, maybe you can. Okay, in that case, just please make sure to go to File and then make a copy. And then put your full name here at the top. And then I'll quickly explain how to do this. So in this column right here that says class event title, that is what you did to earn those hours. So for example, if you taught grade 2 math today, you would say G2 math class, for example. And then you would put the date and then duration. I also have another slide for this, but basically write this down if you need to. But each class is 60 minutes plus the amount of time you stay behind after class for our wrap-up meetings. So for example, today, let's say the orientation lasts like 40 minutes, for example. Then you would do 60 minutes plus 40 minutes, and that's a total of 100 minutes, and you would put that in this column. So this is for the stuff that occurs in class. So does that make sense to everyone? Okay. And then this column is preparation, curriculum time. So this is the amount of time you spend preparing content for your lesson. So that would be making your presentation, searching up resources, things like that. And teachers have a maximum of 60 minutes generally for preparation time. So oh, by the way, this teacher did something wrong. Please don't do this. Don't write any letters here or addition signs. Just add it yourself and then only put the numerical value in both of these columns. Does that make sense? So don't write this, just put the number in there. Okay, slide link and notes. So you can make any notes about how you earn that time. Like for example, if you had like 80 minutes in there, you could say like the after class meeting lasted 20 minutes. You could just make a note about that or anything else that's kind of in addition to that. Okay, and then of course, put in your slide link and make sure you set it to anyone can view. And then after you're done with that, go to the share. And then what you're going to do is add me, or something easier is just go to the general access section and then click anyone with the link and then make sure it's on viewing access so that I can look at it when you guys want to verify like SSL hours or things like that. Okay, I know I kind of speeded through that. If you're a new teacher, anyone have any questions about how to record your volunteer hours? Okay, great. I will move on then. Oh, and by the way, PVSA, if you guys have any questions about that, feel free to ask me. I interviewed teachers last year for PVSA, so if you have any questions about that, just let me know. But when that time comes around, I will let teachers know more about that opportunity. And if you're in your Discord server, I do have old announcements about PVSA if you want to learn more about it. Okay, moving on. So curriculum, mainly for new teachers, since most of you guys are pretty familiar with this already. But curriculum can also be found in the schedule. And a lot of you guys did this, so great job. But make sure you begin the class with icebreakers, always the first couple of classes of the session, especially if all of your students are new or you haven't seen them in a while. Where is the schedule? Okay. So for example, this is our ELA curriculum. And at the top, please refer to the weeks. I forgot to add in the dates. Curriculum members, if you can work on that, that would be great. So just refer to the weeks at the top here, and that also it should be highlighted which week it is, and that'll be really easy to navigate to. And then you can scroll down and find your grade level in the left column. So let's say I taught grade 4 English. So basically the curriculum is a really helpful guide for how to plan your lessons. So of course that doesn't mean you have to follow it like exactly step by step, like we're gonna take off time if you like don't follow it. Definitely we're not going to do that. Of course, you can be as flexible as you want with the curriculum. It also depends on your student levels. Sometimes certain student groups are more advanced, even if they're at this certain level. So just make sure you guys follow that. But yeah, it's a really helpful structure for your class. And also our curriculum members do spend time planning out like the topics and the units for the entire session. So it will be really helpful to follow this, and also the links that they provide. And one more thing that I did notice, if the curriculum member offers like a worksheet, don't directly just click on the worksheet and use that for your class. Try to implement it into a creative activity and include that in your presentation. So for example, if I go to Grammarly, this source, instead of just going to this website and teaching class straight like off this website and just reading it for everyone, that's not effective and it's not going to earn you much time. So incorporate like the examples Grammarly uses how they explain things. It'll also help you learn how you're going to teach your class. So please make a note of that when you're planning out your lessons. And also Quizlet, which is the new thing that I am going to talk about. Okay, any questions about curriculum before I move on? Okay, if you're a new teacher, one helpful website is called SlidesGo, and there are also a lot of other presentation template websites that have like cute designs, especially for little kids. So that can definitely work out. Okay, Quizlet. So this is a really good opportunity for you to earn more volunteer hours, and also the parents of students really like it, and that's why we've decided to incorporate it into our filling curriculum. So I'm going to run through this, so make sure you pay attention if you are interested. So creating a Quizlet with vocabulary from each book. So this is an example for ELA. If you teach a math class, you can also create Quizlets, which I'll go through in a second. So creating a Quizlet will earn you 30 minutes of extra volunteer time per class. So for example, if you created a Quizlet this class, you add on 30 minutes to your preparation time, to your normal 60 minutes of preparation time. So that would be 90 minutes total. So I'm going to run through this with English. So first, if you're an English teacher, you use a book from the curriculum or one that you select for your class. So by what I mean by this is, let's say the topic is something literary focused, or maybe it would be grammar focused, then try to choose a book that kind of shows that well, and that way you can use it as an example and even ask students questions in the book about it. And then go to the glossary section at the back. So this is the glossary, and this is where all the vocab words are located. So you must incorporate the Quizlet in your lesson as well as homework. So the reason we want to put Quizlet in the curriculum is because not only will it be helpful for like reviewing past lessons at like the beginning of class, like during the warm-up, you can use a Quizlet and you can do like a pop quiz for students. Students can also use it for homework to practice on their own, and you can even include like practice homework questions in the Quizlet. And I feel like that's more easier by just giving the students like the link to the study set instead of like having to go through like the Google Classroom, and that kind of, it gets more complicated with that. So really helpful for homework to include practice problems, examples even, like I'm going to make a note of this, but make sure you guys are doing that for your Quizlets. So in the future, when I'm like looking over, skimming over your Quizlets, don't just like copy paste the word and then the definition, and then you like really easily earn 30 minutes. That's not like how we want you guys to earn your volunteer time. Make sure you're adding in your own ideas as well. So for example, you can even create practice problems. Like you could have a flashcard or a study set like specifically for homework, and then you could have like a fill in the blank question and then A, B, C, D, which word best suits the sentence, something like that. And for math too, like math, sometimes there are formulas that students have to remember, or there are vocab words too, and you can even include practice problems and helpful things like that. So that's really helpful for your students, so make sure you incorporate that instead of just copy pasting the vocab words. Okay, and of course, Quizlet is in our curriculum. So our curriculum members have incorporated it somewhat into the curriculum. So you can use it for like Quizlet Live, quizzes during class, warm-ups, homework, etc. Okay, verification. So make sure to pay attention to this. Alex most likely, yeah, I believe Alex has included notice about this in the reminder email. So you guys make sure to pay attention to that too. So you can reply to the reminder email and then make sure you CC me. If you don't CC me, it's not going to get verified because I'm not going to see it. So make sure you CC me and I'll reply to it saying that it's been verified. Okay, Yeah, and you must do it the day before class. At least a day before class, you have to send me your Quizlet, and then I'll try to get it verified. And I'll make sure it follows whatever I previously mentioned. And then please title your Quizlet like this. Title, book level, date of class, or if you're a math class, do like the lesson topic, etc. Okay, I believe we do have a document with the Quizlet policy. Yes, we do. Okay. Let me send this in the chat. Okay, this is our Quizlet policy, so if you need to have like a little bit of a review with it, just remember what you need to do, then you can just look through this and also the presentation that I made. Okay, so quick Q&A. So how many hours do I earn? 30 minutes per Quizlet. How do I get it verified? I just mentioned that. Make sure you respond to the reminder email and CC me. Do I have to create a Quizlet for every class? No, but it is recommended that you do so. So again, in our curriculum, for a lot of the classes, we have incorporated Quizlet. So it's also just really helpful for homework and class activities. So it's your choice, but it's also a really good option to earn volunteer hours. Okay, so this is our new policy. So does anyone have any questions at all about Quizlet? If you do, make sure to ask now. Okay, great. I will move on then. Discord server, most of you should be pretty familiar with this. Oh yeah, yesterday the link did not work, I think they said. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the chat again. If it doesn't work, if someone who's already in the Discord server can find a link and insert it in the chat, I would really appreciate that. Okay, great. And also Discord server is used for finding substitutes. It's used for general updates and announcements as well, but all of those will also be said during class and sent through email. Okay, time collection sheet. I mentioned this already, just a reminder, if you want to like take a picture of this or screenshot it or just save it. Tino program, ignore that. Philly program is 60 minutes of class time plus 60 minutes of preparation curriculum time. And again, if you stay behind after class, you do add additional time. And then make sure to set your spreadsheet to anyone with can comment and or share it with my email. Okay, so MCPS SSL hours verification. I believe this is for those of you who are in Maryland. So I am just going to see if I can, okay. Okay, this is the form. I'm going to copy paste these instructions into the chat. Okay, there you go. So if you guys want to access that, you can also do that when I send out this presentation. Okay, expectations and policies, these should be pretty self-explanatory, so I'll go through them quickly. Attendance policy, I've already mentioned this. Please make sure that you join no later than 8:10 p.m. Eastern time. So please, please, please make sure you do that unless you have an excuse. And please rename yourself, of course, when joining the Zoom. Okay, any questions about our attendance policy? Okay, great. Reminder email. So this is mainly for those of you who are new teachers. Okay, make sure all of you attach your email to this schedule. This way Alex can collect all of your emails and then send you guys the reminder email. So do that now if you haven't done it yet. Okay, so basically what the reminder email is just, of course, give you a reminder for class. And what you are obligated to do is reply to that email with your presentation link. And if you have a Quizlet, you can get that verified. I'm pretty sure that's it. And then you can also reply stating if you're absent, but don't forget to CC me in that. But more about our absence policy in a second. Okay, any questions about the reminder email? All of this, like all of your responsibilities should be stated in the email, so make sure you read through that if you've like never seen one before. Okay, strike policy. Basically, when you guys don't follow our absence policy or our attendance policy, you'll earn a strike. Also, like teachers have been looking at their phones in class before while teaching, and that also counts as a strike. We've also given teachers strikes for that before. So your behavior during class, but generally teachers do pretty well during class. And essentially when you get 3 strikes, also depending on the degree they're at, you will most likely have to schedule a training, and then we'll sort things out from there. Okay. Absence policy. So we uphold a really strict absence policy, and I know the last step of this is a little bit hard to follow, so please try your best with this and please try to stay consistent with it as well. Okay, so if you're a new teacher, please pay attention to this. Old teachers, this has pretty much stayed the same. So first, when you will be absent for a given day of class, your first priority should be letting your managers know. So the second step is about our absence form, and that's basically a Google form you need to fill out, and that's found in the schedule, by the way. But the first step, please make sure to email me and Alex. So let me put Alex's email in the chat. Okay. Oh, thank you, Alex. Okay. And basically, that'll just let us know you're absent. It'll give us a heads up. And try to do that as soon as possible. And the reason for that is, well, okay, so in your email, what you can say is like, I will be absent, like this is what I teach, like the subject, the day I teach, and the date I will be absent. And then basically you can let us know your status, like have I found a substitute yet or not? If you haven't, let us know as soon as possible. But just because you tell us you didn't find a substitute doesn't mean you should stop looking for one. Keep trying to find one. It's okay if you can't find one in the end, because I know it's hard to find substitutes at times. But if you're in our other PLE servers, or you know friends, family, or classmates, like your siblings or something who can substitute for you, please make sure to contact them as soon as possible. And also, please make sure that you update your substitute with all information about teaching class, because we have had teachers or substitutes like join in, they've never taught class before, they don't know what to do, and they pretty much spend the entire class confused. So please make sure that your substitutes know what they're supposed to do. And then here are a few simple steps you can ask in our Discord server. Of course, ask people in person that you know. And if you can't find a substitute, you must let me and Alex know at least 2 days prior to class. So sometimes in the case of an emergency, this isn't possible, but you need to make it clear to us that it was an emergency, and you kind of need to give an excuse for why that was not possible. Okay. I'm going to share this in the chat. It's our absence policy overview, and you can kind of take a look at the document. Okay, any questions about absence policy? Because this is really important, especially for those of you who are new teachers. Okay, great. I don't want to keep you guys for too long, so I'm going to move on. You must follow our absence policy and begin searching for a substitute in advance. So don't just tell us that you're absent and then the day before class, you're like, oh, I forgot to find a substitute, and then you start searching for one. So as soon as you think of the date you're going to be absent, try to find a substitute as soon as possible, because the more closer you're getting to class, the harder it'll be to find a substitute. And we will kind of be keeping track of who does and does not find substitutes, and who does or does not let us know that they did or did not find a substitute. Okay, does anyone have any questions about this? Okay, great. Code of ethics, pretty self-explanatory. Hopefully all of you are doing this already. Be professional, keep your camera on. For those of you who have tech issues, please make sure to get that fixed as soon as possible. If it's like a broken camera or something and you can't really fix it, of course, just let me know. Quality lesson plans, presentations. If you need example presentations, just let me know. And of course, something I want to reiterate is take authority in your class, because I know sometimes students are disruptive, they misbehave during class. And it's okay to be like a little bit mean sometimes and just be a little more strict and just tell your students what to do and make sure they're following your directions, because if you don't do that, they'll just think you're really lenient and they'll just do whatever they want. Okay, and respect property owned by PLE. Any questions about code of ethics? No, David, teacher report form is not actually back. This slide is kind of outdated. I've just used it for every single orientation, but we no longer have the teacher report form, just the volunteer time collection sheet. Okay, great. Moving on. I'm not going to go too in detail with this. But teaching styles, normally we will mention things about this during the wrap-up meeting. So like after class, once our managers like kind of notice how you guys have done during class, we'll make comments about suggestions and maybe even things that went wrong and what we want you guys to do in the future. So presentation material mainly for new teachers. So we recommend you use visually appealing presentation templates, but more importantly, make sure you incorporate creative and entertaining activities that your students can enjoy. So you can do that in the warm-up. You can also have like a little break during class. Maybe after you learn the content, you can have like a 5-minute brain break, as they call it. And then additionally, if you are new to PLE, or our managers decide that you need some additional training or assistance, you will probably be asked to shadow a teacher in a provided PLE program, which is probably the youth tutoring program. And I might even choose a teacher for you guys to assign. For those of you who are lower level teachers, I might even have one of you guys shadow me if I feel like it's necessary. Okay, moving on. Interaction with students. So I feel like managers make a lot of comments about this at the end of class, but really be energetic with your students, be friendly, be warm, and guide them through the lesson. Like imagine if you were a student and your teacher was kind of awkward with you, they didn't really know how to like lead you in class. It wouldn't be that interesting. So it's totally fine to take authority in your class, to guide the class how you want it, and hopefully that'll produce the best outcome. So just make sure to interact with your students through the games you create in your class. You can also like think of things like right on the spot just to make things more interesting. So ask students a lot of questions to keep them like on their feet, to keep them understanding. And one thing I notice sometimes is ELE teachers like read the page for students. Please don't do that. You can read the page for them and then have them repeat after what you said, especially for those students who are struggling to read, but don't be like, oh, you're struggling to read, so you don't have to read this. I'm going to be super lenient and just read the entire thing for you. Or I asked you a question and you didn't know how to respond, so I'm just going to give you the answer and just move on. Don't do that. If you feel like students are consistently struggling with the type of question you ask or a specific activity, then try to adapt it to them. So again, you can be flexible with the curriculum and choose the difficulty of the content you include in your lesson plan. Okay, tips for engaging students. Okay, so I feel like this doesn't always necessarily always apply, but some examples that I've listed here. So I've observed teachers who come to class with content that was too challenging for students, and very challenging books and vocab words are often not engaging for students. So what I mean by this is it's better to make the students have fun during class. So for example, for grade 1, grade 2 students, for those lower level students, don't focus too much on them like learning a bunch of information. Just have fun with them and make them enjoy learning. For upper grade levels, like maybe grade 5 or grade 6 to 8, you could focus a little more about activities and building their skill level, but of course it should be very entertaining and interactive regardless what grade level you're teaching. Okay. Oh, and one helpful tip that I mentioned sometimes is I know students sometimes don't turn on their camera and don't unmute, things like that. So one fun thing you can do is if you feel like there are issues in your class, you can even make them into a fun game. So what I mean by this is, let's say your students are not turning on their camera or unmuting. So at the beginning of your class, you could add a slide for that. So just a reminder, like, please turn on your cameras and unmute. And then if this problem persists, you can even create a game at the beginning of class so you can see how fast like students turn on their cameras and unmute themselves and things like that. And you can add your own creative element into it. But just make class entertaining as possible for your students. And I feel like the less students you have, like the more attentive you are to that student. So you can make class even more funner and interactive the less students you have. You can tailor the specific content of your class to that student. Okay, I know I have talked for a very, very long time. So teachers, do any of you have any questions about what I've mentioned today? Anything you want to note, please mention that right now.
I have a question.
Yes.
So like for today on the time collections sheet, how long do I put it for?
Good question. It would be 60 minutes plus, right now it's 9:50, so plus 50 minutes. Does that make sense?
So I'll put like 110 minutes for the duration.
Yeah, and in the notes section, you can just add a note saying like, I stayed 50 minutes for orientation or something.
Okay. What about the preparation?
That's a maximum of 60 minutes for teachers. It also, like if you spent 30 minutes, then put 30 minutes in there. But sometimes I know some teachers are like really dedicated with their lessons and they spend like over 60 minutes. So just let me know. And of course you can add that additional time.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns? Okay, great. If not, thank you teachers so much for joining us for a new session. Just a couple of reminders, attach your email if you haven't done that already. And please, please, please find some of your friends, classmates, or family who are interested in teaching at PLE, especially we do need some ELA teachers actually, and math. So anyone who's interested, please invite them and you will earn volunteer time for it. Okay, teachers, if you don't have any questions or concerns, you are free to go. Thank you so much for coming today, and I will see all of you next week. Remember to reply to the reminder email. Bye, everyone.
I don't think I got the reminder email for this week.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I can find all of the emails and update it.
Yes,
Okay.
everyone, make sure you attach your email to the schedule. That way Alex knows who to put on the email list.
I think either I just didn't get it or maybe like something happened and I just didn't receive it.
Okay, that might have been the case. But that all should be updated and fixed by next week. So just let us know if you don't receive it by then.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Claire,
Yes.
just wanted to let you know that I'm sorry for coming in late, and also it was not my sister's fault. I lost track of time.
Yeah, no problem. I actually texted her about that and she said that she wasn't aware of that either. So thank you so much for letting me know and no worries.
All right, thanks.
Okay, great. Managers, I don't have that much to say. Lance, were you able to update the attendance tracker?
Yep, attendance tracker for both Thursday and Friday are done, and I added in attendance for the first 2 days.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, other than that, I don't think I have anything else to mention. So managers, thank you so much for coming to class today, and I will see you guys next week.
All right, bye bye. See you guys.
Bye.